This is for the players. For those that leap into battle in the blink of an eye. For the drivers that compete for their club, no matter where they are. For everyone who has triumphs, tips and tricks to share.
And for those who love to play with complete freedom, this is for the game changers, the innovators. This is for the players. This is PS4.
Australia's leading sports organisations have made a pledge to tackle youth binge drinking.
Now when you're watching your favourite sports, like football,
swimming, basketball,
netball
and athletics,
you'll see this logo.
It's all about coming together to have a positive influence on our drinking culture.
We're strong enough to say enough.
and you can be too.
Back your judgment.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Be the influence.
Could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could.
Hello and welcome to this Round 7 clash between South Cardiff and Edgeworth from Ulinga Oval. Today we'll see if the home side, South Cardiff, can win 2 in a row or Edgeworth can continue their run of strong form winning. They've won 3 in a row and they could go to 4 today. I'll just go through the team lineups for both sides. For the home side, in goals, number 1, Tom Pullen. Number 2, Fletcher Price. Number 3, Matt Darr. Number 4, Phil Bewers returns after a year and a half off in Sydney. Number 5, Nick Russell. Number 6, Ash Balcombe. Number 7, Daniel Wells. Number 8, Dan Johnson. Number 10, Mitch Wallace. Number 12, Jared Johnson. And number 14, Jong San Diok. On the bench for South Cardiff, it's Sean Clerk. Number 11. Number 13, Cam Herring. Number 15, Matt Wildsmith. Number 16, Clayton Stocker. And the reserve goalkeeper, number 20, Dom Fox. For Edgeworth, in goals is number 1, Jim Fogarty. Number 5, Cam Hughes. Number 6, Lachlan Pasquale. Number 9, Brodie Taylor. Number 10, Keanu Moore. Number 11, Dylan Holes. Number 12, Brendan Olzoma. Number 14, Justin Tanner. Number 15, Pat Wheeler. Number 16, Bren Hamill. And number 17, Dom Bazari. On the bench, number 2, Bray Smith. Number 3, Aaron McLaughlin returns after that fabulous performance last weekend. Number 4, Aidan Bryce after 2 reds this season. And number 19, Liam Spurway. The reserve goalkeeper is number 24, Ben Smith. So great to have you here from Ulinga Oval. Of course, we've got a minute's silence before the game for Sam Taylor, who is the brother of Brodie Taylor, who has passed away recently, Edgeworth's number 9. Now, joining me today in commentary, former Southie player, Blake Jarrett. And Blake, it's going to be an interesting clash, this one today.
Yes, Ben, it certainly will. It'll be a very good, big game here today. There'll be a lot of emotion. 2 very physical teams going head-to-head in a big game for them both, so there's a big crowd here today. There's going to be some great atmosphere. And, everyone's been waiting for this one all week. So they're both coming off midweek wins. Obviously, we're going to go into a minute's silence now. So we'll just have a short break.
Sam was a passionate follower of football. He loved the Jets, Tottenham Hotspurs, and most of all, South Cardiff FC. Sam played for our club since the age of 6 until all age. It could always be found on the hill during home fixtures. South Cardiff FC, and on behalf of Edgeworth Football Club, offer Mark, Julie, Bro, Brody and Riley, their partners and extended families, our sincere condolences. In Sam's memory, South Cardiff FC has named their annual Prize Player Award the Sam Taylor Award. The sidelines will not be the same, but the memories will always remain. I'll now ask everybody to be upstanding for a minute's applause, please. Thank you. May the best team win.
I've said it before, Blake. I think a minute's applause is so much better than a minute's silence. It just seems to have more feeling behind it for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Ben. It's a beautiful way to celebrate and very nice gesture from both South Cardiff and Edgeworth.
And if you didn't hear through the mic, South Cardiff have named their annual Player of the Year award after Sam Taylor. So great work from them. And we should have a look now at the scores that from the previous matches. The 22s was a 2-1 win to Edgeworth. I heard that they were both washed out, both the 19s and the 22s, but 22s still going ahead and the 19s washed out, I'm pretty sure. Blake, was that correct?
Yeah, 19s were washed out, but the 22s went ahead. Obviously was 1-1 there towards the end of the game, and Edgeworth got that winner, so 3 points to the Eagles today.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look through if I can find that 22's ladder, see how both sides are going. Haven't got that. I think we've only got the new FM ladder.
Yeah, I know Southie will be close to the bottom, and I'm sure Edgeworth will be close to the top. Southie lost their round 4 catch-up game against Charlestown midweek, and then another loss here today will really damage their early form.
Yeah, South Cardiff down in 8th, so that's not going to help them. And Hamilton up in 2nd. So that's a decent performance from South Cardiff against one of the top sides. As we said, Edgeworth up in 4th. Maitland in the 19s yet to get a point, and in the 22s, Maitland in 7th. So, and they've had a tough year so far. Just about to get underway here in round 7.
Obviously, as you said, Ben, a good result for South Cardiff against a higher-ranked opponent. It'll be the same here in first grade, with South Cardiff sitting on 5 points after 6 games and Edgeworth in 4th, 12 points after 6 games. So it's a similar scenario before the game. A team we won't say struggling, but is towards the bottom of the ladder, taking on a team who's really settled themselves into the top 4. A win today here for Edgeworth could even take them to first. So there's a lot at stake here today.
So we are all good to go here at South Cardiff, and a bit of a clearance in the back as Song Diok goes for a little bit of a run, and Edgeworth have got it at the back. And they'll try and play it out. Of course, we had them last week against the Lambton Jaffers, so it runs back now towards Phil Bewers, and early shot straight into the gloves of Jim Fogarty in goals. Now, Phil Bewers, of course, a year and a half off in Sydney, Blake. How important is he going to be for the Gunners this season and today's game?
Yeah, a lot, Ben. A lot indeed. He's got a lot of experience at the back. He's only 24, but he'll be one of the most experienced players in this side. As their coach, Greg Asquith, said during the week, he's going to take a lot of pressure off some of the young guys at the back. They've been playing with a young backline in the last few weeks, so Phil's going to add a lot of guidance back there and a bit of strength as well.
Edgeworth come away with it now. Olzoma playing it back and now forward for looking for Tanner. He goes back on the inside now to the left. Another ball back towards Olzoma. And wide again to Tanner. Playing back in towards Keanu Moore, who scored the winner for Edgeworth last week. They've, of course, got a midweek win over Maitland, who continue their struggle at the base of the ladder. Goes back stick, back on the inside now for Keanu Moore. Keanu Moore going to the 18, a shot from wide. It's into the side netting. And early chance there from Edgeworth. And it's going to be a goal kick for South Cardiff and Tom Pullen.
It was Brenton Olzema there with the shot. Pretty poor angle for him. He's done a good job to get it into the side netting. Obviously, you want to put those on target, but only 2 minutes in, and Edgeworth with a couple of early chances.
And we've got some scores from the other grounds as well. You're on Bar TV this afternoon. See how those other fixtures are going. Of course, one of the matches from the round that we were supposed to do on Friday, the Magic and the Jets Youth, that is going on tomorrow night. But we won't be there. There was talk we would, but we won't be at that one at Magic Park. We'll be there next week for their match against Western. So enjoy that one if you're heading out, as Edgeworth trying to play it out from the back again. And down the line, and it's with Tanner again. Turns it over, and South Cardiff. Well, now it's back for Olzoma. Olzoma down the middle of the park for Edgeworth. He's got Brodie Taylor on his left. It trickles in the end straight to Tom Pullen in goals, and Edgeworth dominating the early exchanges, but only really coming up to 3 minutes gone as Song Diok is after it. Wallace goes down. No foul blown from the referee. Back to Ash Balcombe. Scored on Wednesday night in our match of the round against Charlestown. Song Diok goes down the right side. He has Dan Johnson in the middle, the Southie captain. And it's going to be a throw now for the visitors.
It was an interesting game, that midweek one, wasn't it? It was very slow first half, a little bit boring, and obviously Ash Balcombe's goal was one of the only highlights of it. And second half, Southie scored 2 early goals, didn't they? They got one through Diok and then another, which was officially ruled to be an own goal. We were saying it was a Nick Russell goal from that corner, but coming in off the defender's head, it was ruled to be an own goal. So
disappointing for Nick Russell. It was a pretty awesome strike. I actually thought it crossed the line. I thought it was Tull's head, that Matt Tull, I should say, Matt Tull's head, that he was at the back stick. I'm not sure if it was, but definitely clipped him. But I thought it may have crossed the line. In the end, as Blake said, it was awarded as an own goal. Here's Song Diok down the left side for South Cardiff. He's been pulled out wide on the angle, so he's going to look into the middle. Mitch Wallace is there. Of course, played for Changwon City in Korea. A little bit of a 1-2 with Johnson. In the end, it's been turned over, and it's away with Keanu Moore up to Olzoma. Back now in a little 1-2 to Olzoma from Dylan Holes. And South Cardiff back with possession with Song Diok. What's your tip for this afternoon, Blake?
I'm going to go Edgeworth. I'm going to go maybe 3 or 4-0.
3 or 4-0. Of course, that's not where your heart lies. You want to see a win from the home side today, don't you?
As I said in my midweek preview, it's more than a game of football here today. So whatever the score, I just hope the game is played in a good spirit and it's a really good one for the crowd.
Well, here's Song Diok looking long range, and Jim Fogarty just watches that one stroll by. It's always actually I can see that fence is a little bit bent here at Ulinga Oval from the recent storms, I presume. I've played a few games of juniors up here, and you know when you kick the ball over that fence, it takes a while to get it back because there's a decent hill behind Jim Fogarty there, and he'll look long. Now, you played on it last week in your all-age day, Blake. What was the pitch like?
Yeah, it just rained that morning actually, so there were a few games on before us, and it was a little bit chopped up before we went out there, and then after we were done with it, it was pretty poor, and there were a couple on after us still even after that. So it looks not too bad from where we're standing, doesn't it? But I don't think once you get out there that it'd be too flash.
Well, here's Keanu Moore on the right for Edgeworth now. Goes back to Pasquale. Cross now to the left. and it's been well intercepted over there. I think there good job there over from may have been Fletcher Price over on that far side.
I think another interesting statistic about today's game, like we saw a few players out during the week, didn't we? I think majority of those are still out. Dean Kelly, Lee Ashton and Matt Gray for South Cardiff are all still out. We've got Sean Clerk returning to the bench. So it's going to be another challenge for the Gunners. They stood up against Charlestown midweek, but Edgeworth here today are a lot better an opponent than Charlestown was on Wednesday night, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Edgeworth were impressive last week when they went down to 10 men after Bren Hamill was sent off. So we'll see how well they can perform today. They've got the full 11. They've gone down to 10 men 3 times this year. I spoke to Damien Zane at the end of last match about it. Whether that was he was happy about that. Of course, he said no, but he was talking about the mobility of his Edgeworth side, that when they do go down to 10 men, they're still definitely in the hunt. Pasquale looking up. Price goes across the sideline and a throw to the Gunners. So 7.5 gone. It's the match of the round in round 7 here on Bar TV. Great to have your company this afternoon from Ulinga Oval. Ben Homer and Blake Jarrett with you in the commentary box. It's over with Fletcher Price now. Looking down the line for Song Diok. Jim Fogarty comes out, heads it. Oh, here's a problem. Here's problems for Fogarty. Didn't get enough on the header. And racing down the right side for South Cardiff is Jared Johnson. He just got too heavy a touch. And Fogarty gets away with one there, Blake.
Yeah, very lucky, wasn't it? If a couple of more decent touches and maybe someone could have knocked one back in over his head into the back of the net, but wasn't to be. As you said, he's escaped with one, and Edgeworth have got themselves a goal kick here. 8 minutes in and at Ulinga Oval, and we're still 0-0.
Great to have your company this afternoon. We've got plenty. We're only 8.5 in and already plenty of viewers here on Bar TV, so great to have your company. As we said, today's game celebrating the life of Sam Taylor, Brodie Taylor's brother. He's the number 9 for Edgeworth this afternoon. Fletcher Price up with the header, but foul given against him, and free kick goes the way of Edgeworth. They've got a spare man here on the right. It's Bren Hamill, who was sent off last week against Lambton for the challenge on Grant Brown. Here's Hamill. Missed the game against Maitland. Back for Bren Hamill. Runs into his own man, Dylan Holes. Takes it over down near the line. Turned it over. And down the line now for Pasquale after it. And South Cardiff comes back now. And Edgeworth with the ball back. Turning it over again, and South Cardiff come away over on the right now for them. Back towards Price, foul given against Edgeworth on the far side of the ground, and it's going to go the way. It's going to be taken over there by Matt Dar, who's back in the side after the injury. Midweek didn't play. Johnson to Seng Diok. And they header away from Cam Hughes from Edgeworth. Back now towards Bazzari, and it's Pat Wheeler on the ball. Blake?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, while there's a bit of a slow play at the back here from Edgeworth, a couple of signings during the week. Obviously, Adamstown secured Travis Cooper. I don't know. It wasn't speculated how many games he'd be here for. I think the general consensus is that he won't be there for many, but it's a good partnership for them, for Adamstown and for Travis. He can keep fit, and Adamstown gain a real professional in him. A strange move with former gunner Jamie Burns moving from Hamilton to Lambton Jaffers. Not sure what the reason behind that was, but if it's looking for game time, it's a strange move considering all the strike power that the Jaffers possess. Obviously, Phil Buras has come back to Southie, and there was another signing. There was another signing for Adamstown with Nick Hills, former Southie boy, signing for Adamstown.
Well, it's interesting because Jamie Burns scored 10 goals in 15 games to be the leading scorer last year for South Cardiff. So that was a good pick-up by Hamilton, and now, of course, Kane Goodchild's been the dominant strike force for Olympic this year, so I'm really surprised that he's gone to Lambton, because you think about it, they've got Remington, they've got Bridges, they've got Palozzi, just to name a few. I don't know if he'll get. See, I really don't think he'll get much game time unless there's injuries there at Lambton.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. They've got, as you said, they've got those. They've got Majorowski and Hakim Carnley as well, so they're two very experienced grand final winning players. So it's going to be very hard for him there. Maybe he's gone there with the intention of playing in a wide role, but I wouldn't have too much of an idea what happened behind the move.
Well, I've been looking forward to seeing if Hakim Carnley starts a game, but he hasn't. He of course played in the futsal World Cup, I believe. He played for Broadmeadow last year, and it would have been interesting to see him this year, and he hasn't been able to get into the starting lineup yet. So you definitely think he'd be quick on his feet and have a decent shot on him. We just haven't been able to see him for much time this season. Probably the area where Lambton Jaffers are lacking this year, I'd have to say, Blake, is probably their defence. They've done enough goal scoring wise, but some games they just haven't defended as well as they could have.
Yeah, I think something that will tighten up the defence obviously is Michael Sessions coming back. That'll be a big game for them, and yeah, I think when he comes back in, there'll be a bit of added stability there, and obviously he's helped lead them to 2 grand finals, 1 loss and 1 win. So
yeah, well, Sessions was back playing 22s last weekend for Lambton, and Dave Tancheski said that he's pretty close to returning to the starting side, and Michael Bridges as well, very close to coming back into the starting lineup for the Jaffers. So that'll be interesting to see who does drop out. I have a feeling you can't play Majorowski and Bridges in the same starting lineup just because they're older and they're slower. What would you think of that, Blake?
Yeah, I think if they're going to do that, then Luke Remington needs to play. Obviously, he's a wide midfielder, but he needs to play a lot higher up the park and stay up there as almost a third striker, because they'll need to use his pace. Even as we just mentioned with Jamie Burns coming in, maybe he could even play in behind those two. But yeah, I think you are right. They lacked a bit of creativity, maybe not creativity, but a little bit of pace, that extra ball to knock him behind in recent weeks. Obviously, there's a lot of experience and creativity there with Majorowski and Bridges, but yeah, you do want, in this league, it's getting a lot faster. So you do want someone up there who's a little bit quicker, and that's a problem that we've seen here with Southie, with Sean Clerk and Mitch Wallace up front together, but now they've got Doc up there, so Southie have really benefited that, as we saw on Wednesday night.
Well, here's Keanu Moore again down the right for Edgeworth. He puts one back on the inside. Sorry about that pole in your way, just unfortunate. We can't chop it down. It's got some lights on it, so I wouldn't be able to play in any night matches here if that wasn't there. But we've got a decent view of the ground as it is across the whole ground. But Blake, I should touch on this. Last year, Edgeworth played the 9 matches away from home. They had 1 win, 4 losses and 4 draws. So that'll be interesting. We'll just stick with it at the moment. Oh, maybe not. Well, yeah, interesting. Only the 1 win away from home last year. And this season, they've played 2 away from home for a win and a loss. And that win was, let me think. I'm trying to think of that win away from home. I'll have to check my stats. That win away from home for Edgeworth was against Adamstown a couple of weeks ago. Do you think that could play a part? Maybe stick in their minds a little bit. They don't have a good record away.
You'd hope not for their sake. I think today there's a lot of added emotion for the Eagles. I think, yeah, I'm going to say no. I don't think that last year's form away from home will have an impact. They're obviously very good rivals with South Cardiff. They lost their solo cup, which it was called them, grand final here on penalty shootouts up the other end to where the ball is now. So a lot of feeling from Edgeworth at this ground.
Yeah, of course, South Cardiff getting through to the final against Broadmeadow Magic. Now, well, I'm not sure if Bar TV are doing the final this year of the state league cup, but we do know that the FFA Cup final series, the semi-finals, are being played on the 20th and 21st of June. So there's no NPL on that round. I'll have to see what happens. So it's walking over to take this one for Edgeworth is Bren Hamill. They scored from identical to this position last week. Josh Evans getting in, so look out for him. Just trying to find his number. Actually, Josh Evans isn't even on the starting sheet today, so maybe not look out for Josh Evans as he goes. Bren Hamill looks top left corner. It's in the back of the net. Bren Hamill with an awesome free kick. That was Guy Bates-esque. And Edgeworth lead 1-0 after just over 17 minutes here at Ulinga Oval. Perfect right foot free kick. And I think we'll have to give it to the viewers to see if they thought that was better than Guy Bates' free kick. So have to think that is definitely up there as one of the free kick goals of the season, if not one of the goals of the year. And the Eagles go up by 1-0. If you just turned us on, you turn on just at the right time because now South Cardiff are down the right side. Playing it square, Dioc. Edgeworth do well to get it away. And they survive. Played wide now for Keanu Moore, who takes it down the right. Played down the line. He scored a couple this year, Keanu Moore. And now taking it down the right side is Old Zoma. Edgeworth, all of a sudden it's end-to-end stuff. Played back stick and that'll run down and away. What an awesome free kick that was, Blake.
Yeah, it was about 25 out, wasn't it? And straight into the top left-hand corner. So, really raised eyebrows, that one. I know you said watch out for Josh Evans coming in for the header. Obviously, he's not here today, so Hamill thought he might just go for it himself. And, yeah, and what a hit. Well done to him.
Yeah, another one this year for Bren. He's grabbed, that was his second of the season. He was one of the stars for them last year. Here's a ball down the line, charging after his Mitch Wallace. He's been brought out on the angle. Good defence from Hughes, Cam Hughes. He's done well to draw him out. South Cardiff just seem to have come to life after conceding. Coming down on the attack. Played square for Pasquale, looking over the top. Looking over the top for the for number 14, Tanner, but it's played back by Bewers to Tom Pullen. Blake, you're good mates with Tom Pullen. I don't think he could have done much more than what he did for that free kick.
No, I'll probably tell him he could, but no, he definitely couldn't. There was a brilliant strike. Not many keepers are going to save that flying into the top left-hand corner, are they? So I'm sure he will be disappointed. He hasn't kept a clean sheet yet this season. I think as we go through all South Cardiff's games, there was 2-2, 3-2, 2-1 loss, 3-1 win, 5-2 loss, and a 4-1 win. So in games that South Cardiff have been involved in this season, it's goals galore, isn't it? They've never been held scoreless, and they haven't held anyone scoreless. So expect to see a few more in this one, I reckon, today, Ben.
Well, that's what I'm looking forward to, actually. Now that we have a look at those stats, like the lowest amount of goals in a game that South Cardiff have played in this year was 3, and that was the 2-1 defeat to Western. And of course, it would be Western that would bring the lowest amount of aggregate goals in a match, because they're one of the best defensive sides in the comp. So, well, I'd have to. I'm pretty sure they would be the best defensive side. They are. They've only conceded 4 goals this year. Though I think they're one of the lowest. This is incredible. Western have scored 4 goals. Lowest. Here's a ball back stick. Hang on, we've got an offside. But go through this. Western have scored the lowest amount of. Have conceded the lowest amount of all the competition. And they've scored the second lowest in the comp. So here goes Olzoma down the right side. Good challenge there. That is an incredible stat. Western with 4. The next closest is Hamilton with 6 conceded. Goals 4. The lowest is Maitland with 7. And Western have 8, level with Charlestown. Wow, that is interesting. It's back for Tanner.
Hang on, we've got Brody Taylor on the ball just out here. It's gone wide to Dom Bazzari. Bazzari looking for a cross to the back stick, but it rolls out.
So it's going to be Tom Pullen that has the goal kick for South Cardiff. Pullen looking long and over halfway. Mitch Wallace going up and runs down, and Edgeworth knocking up the ground. Back with Bren Hamill. He's going to have the throw on this side of the ground. Hamill down the line towards Keanu Moore down that right side, and it's put over the sideline by Matt Dar. So here on Bar TV's match of the round, 22 and a half gone. Edgeworth with a 1-0 lead over the home side, the South Cardiff Gunners. Throw now for South Cardiff. Back down the line for Hamill. South Cardiff back with the ball this time. This time through Russell. He goes, of course, scored from a corner. Actually, I should say he put the corner in that was put into the back of the net by Charlestown now, as we know.
It's a very strange call, isn't it? The ball was going in, it came off the defender's head straight up into the top of the net. So I would have definitely given it to Nick. We did give it to Nick, didn't we? But
yeah, well, I thought it had crossed the line before the defender got his head to it anyway. So
you think so? Because he headed it straight up. Maybe from where we were standing, we didn't judge the angle well enough, but it looked like it went directly up. So if it goes directly up, you think that's already in, don't you? So
yeah, definitely. So well, there you go. It's headed back now towards Matt Dar again down the line. Edgeworth, Blazari does well. Down towards Pat Wheeler, who watches it go over the sideline. So Bazzari with the throw, Don Bazzari. Of course, playing in Italy last year. Back for Edgeworth this year. Pasquale. Back to Bazzari. And free kick going the way of South Cardiff. So really after that goal, got really the temperature went up in this one, but since then sort of died back down to the level we were before the goal was scored. Nick Russell on the left. Looks to the right. Controlling it nicely is Jared Johnson. He looks towards the middle of the box. Jim Fogarty comes out. Took it well. A little bit of a fumble. Now to Pasquale, looking long. Nice control from Olzoma. And now it's with Brody Taylor. Brody Taylor on a run. Jinking left and right. Back to Olzoma. Poor ball back for Tannick. And South Cardiff come away with it again. To the right now, it's Johnson. Balcombe. Now for Wallace. Back to Johnson. Down the line. Looking for Mitch Wallace again. Goes down. Free kick for South Cardiff in a promising position here, Blake. They can swing one in.
Yeah, I'd say Nick Russell, he's coming across. He's going to swing that in towards goal with his left foot. Obviously, we've got Phil Buras coming up. So this will be Edgeworth's first real test, I think, if he can get a good ball in here.
Okie doke, so it is going to be Nick Russell from that far side. We'll see what he can do. We know he can swing it with that left foot. He's done really well. Back stick, the header. It's going to be over for a corner. It was Dan Johnson, the captain, who got so close to putting that one in. Nick Russell, his free kicks are like grenades. They just cause all sorts of havoc for the defence.
Yeah, you're not wrong. His corners as well, as we keep talking about, but yeah, he's good from that right-hand side, swinging it in. We see Jared Johnson here. he himself has scored from a corner, hasn't he? Back when against Greg Asquith, his current coach. So there's an amazing start as we see another corner.
Well, Edgeworth are not happy about this at all, yelling at the ref, saying, hey, no, it didn't. And now this is going to be interesting, Blake, because it's Nick Russell walking over, or jogging over, to take it. That left foot, he gets a lot of swing on it. More so than well, Jared Johnson got a bit there. It just wasn't as well placed as what he would like. So 26.5 gone. South Cardiff 0, Edgeworth 1, round 7 of the NPL in 2015. Here goes Nick Russell, hand in the air. Probably not one of his best efforts. It rolls into the side netting, a little bit too much curl. And Jim Fogarty with the goal kick. What have you made of the opening half of the first half, Blake?
Yeah, it's been a pretty good game, hasn't it? There hasn't been a heap of chances and a heap of excitement, but obviously the game came to life in the 18th minute with that free kick. Both sides seem to be easing into it. It's a battle of the midfield. There's been a few, collections from crosses and stuff, but neither Fogarty or Tommy have had to make too many crucial saves. So I think we'll see it heat up soon, if not before half time, then straight after.
Once the ball's across now for Nick Russell. It looks long. Dan Johnson almost gets on the end of it, and it went very close to Wells as well. So just missing everyone, bowling over everyone and over the byline. Jim Fogarty with the goal kick, and head-to-head since 2012. South Cardiff with the 1 win, Edgeworth 4 and just a 1 draw. Last year they had a 0-0 draw here at Ulinga and a 2-1 win at Edgeworth for the Eagles. So they haven't tasted success, South Cardiff, over Edgeworth since 2012. We'll see if that can change today. At the moment, it won't. But they've looked pretty good since they've conceded, Blake. I think since they've conceded, that's been the best we've seen South Cardiff perform this afternoon.
Yeah, it did really switch them on, didn't it? I think, as I said, both sides were really easing into it, and then that goal really spurred them both into life, I think. But yeah, South Cardiff they've reacted, they've responded well, and you could possibly say that they're unlucky not to have one themselves.
Ball comes back now for Price. Down the middle of the ground, little ball over the top from Wallace. Fogarty with his hand in the air. And it's going to be a free kick offside against the Gunners. And Jim Fogarty will run over to take that one. Of course, next weekend we've got a blockbuster. It's the Broadmeadow Magic taking on the Western Bears. So hopefully everything stays the same. And when it's a first versus second battle, the best attacking side versus the best defensive side in the comp at the moment. So definitely a match to tune in here on Bar TV on a Sunday afternoon around the TV or computer. It's down the left, Nick Russell putting it in. South Cardiff on the end of it, and Wallace gets just a little touch, and somehow Fogarty's taken it. Just didn't get enough on it there, Mitch Wallace. And Bren Hamill now on the right, looking long for Keanu Moore. Nice header away from Phil Burez. They survive that little chance, South Cardiff. Oh, Dan Johnson, Mitch Wallace there. They've all got the ball. Bit of stuck in the middle there. It was a scrum. And it's now down the line, played for Holes. He goes to Olzomer. Cross to the left for Bazari. So Edgeworth swinging it across now. Bazari looking towards the middle of the box. Burez with the head, does well. Sung Diok now plays in Wallace. Sung Diok turns it over. One thing I have noticed in the last couple of games is, Blake, South Cardiff don't have as much pace up front. Did Jamie Burns really bring that last year for them?
Yeah, he did. He brought a good balance, and I think that's what Greg's probably looking for with moving Diok up front rather than in that midfield position where he started. There needs to be a good mix, and obviously Clerk and Wallace are both great strikers in their own right. But as we mentioned before with Lanton, the two target men up front doesn't really seem to work. So
here's a pass that's gone straight over the sideline into the crowd, and it's an awesome crowd this afternoon, Blake, here at Ulinga. They've turned up in their droves, and That grandstand behind that grandstand behind the ground actually makes it seem like at one of those lower tier English sides. You see those smallish grandstands.
Yeah, I think it doesn't look very full, does it? But the other grandstand just to the right of the canteen and just in front of it as well, there's an abundance of both South Cardiff and Edgeworth fans up there. So yeah, it's a very big crowd, and it's making for a very good atmosphere here today.
Well, we saw back in the round 2 halftime show where we were having a look back at South Cardiff's match against Maitland here. There was a huge crowd in as well, so they definitely like coming out on a Sunday afternoon here at Ulinga. Pretty certain I've checked the draw in all the matches here at Ulinga on a Sunday, Arvo. First grade side is Dioc. It's after it. It goes forward now for Olzima. Now with Keanu Moore steps on it. Bit of a foul referee calls against Jared Johnson. And now it's with Tannick. Across to the left for Bazari. Trying to swing one in. That's a decent ball. Back post. Decent header from Russell. Goes over the byline. Goal kick for Tom Pullen. And great to have your company on Bar TV this afternoon. South Cardiff and Edgeworth. Edgeworth with the lead 1-0. And it's been a pretty tight, intense affair. Both sides pretty even with their chances since the goal was scored by Bren Hamill. A fantastic free kick into the top right corner, the top left corner from his perspective. Pullen now looking long. Borkham up. Keanu Moore. Now with Tannick looking wide for holes. It goes behind him. Runs over towards South Cardiff. They ball down the line. Bren Hamill didn't control it well. Now it's with South Cardiff on the attack with Wells. Wells on the ball. He escapes the defence, Daniel Wells. He put one in. He's still on the ball, playing it back for Wallace. Wallace now looking for Seng Dioc. Put a little bit too much on it. Fogarty went up for the punch. He missed it. And Seng Dioc is in a little bit of a battle over there. And Brodie Taylor was there too. And Brodie Taylor's done really well. Controls the ball. Chance for Edgeworth to break. Brings it over across here to the right. Holes can't get to it. And it's with Nick Russell and Blake. Are there any scores from the other grounds?
None that I've found out yet. Obviously, Twitter's my best source of getting scores through. Coaches can't be on their phones during the game texting me. So nothing as of yet. I'll keep trying to look. But yeah, 33 minutes in and I haven't got a score from another game yet, so maybe we got some close ones.
So Dan Johnson playing it back and try and come on the attack through Mitch Wallace now. Mitch Wallace does really well. Gets away. Sang Dioc holds it up nicely. Now across to Wells. Wells' ball across was well intercepted by Don Bazari. And South Cardiff away now. Tannick turns it over now to Ash Borkham. Borkham to the right. Little chip ball. Sang Dioc after it. Didn't get on the end of it. Chance out here for Wells. He just didn't get to it, and it runs over near the sideline. Well kept in by Edgeworth. And ball down the line from Holtz wasn't good enough. It's been turned back over to South Cardiff. And it's with Dan Johnson. Goes to Wells. Wells looking down the line for Dan Johnson with the 1-2. Didn't get there. Nick Russell. Now for Wells. Wells looking for Ash Borkham. They've turned it over. So South Cardiff really controlling possession in the last 5 minutes or so, Blake. They're pushing hard. Edgeworth haven't shown too much since that goal to Bren Hamill.
No, they haven't, have they? I don't know if they've gone into their shell, but they look happy with their one goal. So they've got a bit of an opportunity here, but Moore's pass to Brodie Taylor just goes a little bit too far behind him. You know, we've got a bit of a battle here with Taylor and Phil Buras, and Buras sees it over the line for an Edgeworth throw-in.
It'll be great to see Brodie Taylor score this afternoon for Edgeworth after all that's gone on.
Yeah, he bagged one midweek in a win, a 4-1 win over Maitland. So it would be great for him to get another one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be awesome. And now with Dylan Holes, back to Holes, a little bit of a 1-2 over near the sideline. He's been forced wide.
Yeah, as I said, we talked a little bit earlier about this being a bit more than a football game. You know, obviously you said I've got a bit of a history at Southie, talking to a lot of Southie fans before the game. One thing that echoed through their opinions was, we'd love to win, but what I'd want to see today is Brodie to score one. So it's got a lot of feeling in it, this one.
I think it could be one of those Frank Lampard moments where that we saw earlier in the year. Here's a free kick going the way of Edgeworth. Of course, Frank Lampard, formerly playing for Chelsea. For those who didn't know, he played for Manchester City this year. He scored against Chelsea late to level it up at 1-1, and at the end of the game, the Chelsea fans gave him a standing ovation. So I think if Brodie Taylor scored this afternoon, I'm pretty sure the South Cardiff fans would do that for him as well.
Yeah, we've got another free kick here in the 37th minute, and it's pretty much the identical position to where Brent Hamill scored his previous free kick in the 18th minute. So,
well, I should say that last week...
hang on, we've got a dog on the field. So we're going to...
Unfortunately, Brendan's upstairs, so we couldn't get the following of the dog there, but he's gone down behind one of the advertising boards. Here is Hamill running around, hitting it low and hard, and this time not as well positioned. But that's 2 weeks in a row, free kick from that position on the left-hand side of the field that Edgeworth have scored a goal from. So it's happened a couple of weeks in a row now. I like free kicks from that position. And last week about this time we were mentioning Brent Hamill for the red card. And we're mentioning him again this week for a great thing he's done. Have you got a score?
No, not yet. I'm still searching, but as of yet I haven't got anything through.
Fletcher Price now with the throw down the line, looking for his captain Dan Johnson. Ash Borkham now for Johnson. Oh, flying in. The dog
the dog back on the field. He wants to have a game.
Brent Hamill's gonna bring him off the ground. Oh, how nice! How nice! Giving him a lift. Hopefully it doesn't bite him. They need him out there. Oh, it's moving around.
He's not a fan. He's trying to wants to stay.
This thing, only in northern New South Wales NPL would this happen. You wouldn't say this on the synthetic pitches in Sydney, would you? It's not moving. We'll have to do an interview with the dog at halftime. We'll see if we can get one. Oh, he's brought it over to Damien Zane here. Has Damien Zane got a... Damien Zane might be holding on to it, the Edgeworth coach. It's all happening here at Edgeworth today, at South Cardiff here today. Getting delirious now. With Tom Pullen. Have you ever seen that before, Blake?
Oh, I've seen it on TV. I've never seen it live at a game like this, so no one seems to... Oh, hang on, we'll come back to that. Yeah, we just see Fogarty punch across clear. No one seems to be claiming it, don't they? He's been on the field for a while, but...
They're bringing it over near the canteen now, so some of the South Cardiff guys are grabbing onto him and pulling him over. But we'll go back to the play now. Here's with Daniel Wells. Good challenge at the back there from Edgeworth. And Bassari plays... Oh, gee, Bassari. In attempting to play it back to Fogarty, it's gone over the byline, and a corner kick goes the way of the Gunners. As we near half-time, 40 minutes gone in the game. Edgeworth still with that 1-0 lead after Bren Hamill scored a stunner in the 18th minute. Here we go. So it's Nick Russell with that lethal left foot. Another one. This time he swung in. Fogarty with the punch. It's a bit scrappy in the box. A shot off the line. Pasquale, was there a handball in there? No. Crowd didn't really go up. And now Olsam is away. He's been pulled down, and the free kick goes the way of South Cardiff. After all that, shot from Johnson. Pasquale had hit him on the line. Reminder, we don't have the replay machine with us, so if you want to check that again, just scroll back the vision. That is interesting. No one here went up as if it was a handball, but it definitely was very, very close. I'll ask Blake in a sec as it goes across to the right from Pasquale, and now on to Bren Hamill. Cross to the left now for Tannick, and it's gone over the sideline. And throw goes away. Did you think it was handball on the line from Pasquale?
I had a pretty decent view of it, and my initial thought was that it's come straight off his quad, maybe his thigh. So
his hands were by his side anyway. So
it looked close, but no, definitely not a handball. It would have been extremely unfair if it was given, and that's obviously echoed by the fact that none of the Gunners players even appealed for it. So they've got away with one there, Edgeworth. We said South Cardiff have really turned it on since they've conceded that goal, as we see Jock there with a left-footed shot just hooked across the face of goal. But yeah, it was a good chance. It was a pretty poor corner, wasn't it? But it wasn't cleared. It came back in, spun back over, and obviously Edgeworth didn't get rid of it, and it fell kindly to Jared Johnson, whose shot was on target. But yeah, obviously that's why you got someone on the back stick, isn't it? Pasquale there clearing it off the line.
Yeah, that's right. Otherwise it would have been in for sure. But of course, that's the thing you've got to remember is with those handballs, the ball, your hand really has to be trying to block the ball. But you see free kicks all the time for just total accidents where your hand's out away from your body. But normally, Blake, if your hand's right next to your body, then they don't normally blow them up.
No, yeah. It's 50-50, isn't it, whether they give it or not?
Yeah, it's like a lucky dip. Sometimes they call them and sometimes they don't. Ball down the line, Pasquale. Now for Keanu Moore. But South Cardiff have been impressive since that goal. Last 25 minutes, Brendan Hamill in the 18th, and since then they've really controlled possession. Dan Johnson, but don't rule South Cardiff out because we know they've come from behind on more than one occasion this year. They were down 2-0 in their opening match against Maitland, came back, drew 2-2, and they were down 3-1 against the Jets and came back and drew 3-3. So they cannot be written off. Down the line goes Hughes, the captain for the Eagles this afternoon.
Yeah, I think the worst thing for South Cardiff here is that there's only a minute and a half left of the first half. They won't one half time. I feel like if they keep going, they can probably get one back here. But despite that, we're going to have half time because it's the rules of the game, isn't it? As we see Edgeworth break, they'll be looking to get one back before half time as well. So they give the ball away. Now it's Ash Balcombe. Plays a little ball in behind. It's too long and it was called offside anyway. So the referee is going to keep the game going as Jim Fogarty picks that one up and he will probably go long.
Yeah, 1 minute to go in regulation time, first half here at Ulinga Oval. Jim Fogarty looks long. Looks like it's only going to... Dan Johnson didn't get up for it, but he's going to win his side a free kick from that.
I think something else here in the game is the Southie are winning a lot of the 50-50 calls here. Like, lots is going their way as Doc there with a shot, a good through ball into his path and
just out of nowhere again for South Cardiff.
Yeah,
just little ball over the top, Sang Diok on the end of it and rolling one past. They have. I'm going to say it. South Cardiff have been the better side in the first half. Bren Hamill scored that free kick. I can't think of another chance that Edgeworth really had that was decent.
No, yeah. As I said about 15 minutes ago, I can't remember either keeper making a save really, and then since then it's been all South Cardiff, hasn't it? It's been all down in their attacking box, and Fogarty's had a lot of touches. So yeah, you could say that despite dominating this first half, Southie will go into the break down 1-0.
Well, it's cleared away. Edgeworth, see what they can do in the final minutes. We've had about 30 seconds stoppage time now. Keanu Moore. This would be a dagger to the heart if they manage to score. Squares it across the face. Ash Balcombe played back for Tannick. He has a hit and Edgeworth has scored, and that is a dagger to the heart for South Cardiff. Well, we were just saying they've dominated most of this first half, and then Justin Tannick with a great strike of his left, and the visitors lead by 2-0. So we'll play out the final few moments of this first half. South Cardiff will be bitterly disappointed with what's gone on. Sang Diok just missing, just putting one wide. And then down the other end of the ground, they concede. Now with Fletcher Price on the right. Of course, we had that stoppage time when the dog was on the field, so that's probably where the time is coming from. Have a decent chunk in this first half. Going down the line is Nick Russell. And that is it. Referee blows half-time here at Ulinga Oval. It's South Cardiff 0, Edgeworth 2. And Blake, we spoke a moment ago, South Cardiff, we thought we've been the better side. What was your analysis on that first 45?
I said that they were the better side, didn't I? But they're going to go in at 1-0, and I've put the mocker on them, so now they're going in 2-0 down. Obviously, in the 18th minute, we had Brent Hamill smack that free kick from 25 out into the top left-hand corner. Nick Russell put that early on the half a now mark, put that early cross in left, and Mitch Wallace got a header on, but a good save from Jim Fogarty. And then 41 minutes, just 4 minutes before the break, we saw Jared Johnson had that shot cleared off the line. Just before the goal, we saw Doc miss that shot from close range, and then Justin Tannock finishes into the bottom left. And I think even though Southie had been the better side, I think Edgy have deserved both their goals. Their first one was an absolute screamer, obviously a good free kick, which they earned, and the last one was just persistence pays off, doesn't it? Southie didn't take their chances, and Edgeworth put one away just before half time. So disheartening for South Cardiff, but jubilation for the Eagles going in to half time. So we'll leave that there for the half, Ben.
Yeah, and we'll go to the halftime show. We'll have a look at the results from last round, the ladders from last round, and then we'll be back here from Ulinga Oval for the second half action. Hello and welcome to Bar TV's halftime show for this round 7 fixture between South Cardiff and Edgeworth here at Ulinga Oval. Now, unfortunately, Blake couldn't make it this week, but he'll be back next week for the halftime show to discuss all the games. We're going to have a look now at the results from round 6, last round. In the opening match on Saturday, it was Adamstown who got a 3-1 victory over Maitland. After they went up 2-0, Maitland got one back, and then Gary Kenneth finished it off late in the game to get Adamstown a 3-1 win. In the second game of the round, as you can see, it was Hamilton getting a 2-1 win over the Jets Youth. That one was expected to be a close one and didn't disappoint. The Jets Youth, one of the top sides in the comp at the moment, and Hamilton going very, very well as well. Now, the third match of the round was the match that we had at Jack McLaughlin Oval, a 2-1 win to Edgeworth over Lambton after they went down to 10 men in the 32nd minute. So you can see all of that up on the Bar TV YouTube channel and the coaches' interviews as well. The fourth match of the round was a win for Western at Lyle Carr Oval at Charlestown. They got up 3-1 in a match where Western just continued to rise up the ladder. In the last match, the final match of the round, South Cardiff went up 1-0 against Broadmeadow Magic before Cale Bradbury scored 4 unanswered goals for the Magic, and they got to a 4-1 victory. Next up, we're going to have a look at the ladders. So the ladders, Broadmeadow Magic at the top of the ladder on 14 points. Last year they only managed 20 points on route to finishing ninth, so they've played very well over the opening 6 rounds. Western, of course, are up there in second place, and it's interesting, all sides have now played their 6 matches, so very even to see where sides place. Probably the side most disappointed, the Lambton Jaffers there in 6th spot, only on 8 points. They've had 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses, and they've had a very topsy-turvy start to the year. Adamstown Rosebuds as well, with all those star recruits, they are now on 5 points. Of course, Travis Cooper, the former Newcastle Jet, has signed with them this week, so you'd expect to see them going up the ladder shortly. South Cardiff and Charlestown, of course, at the bottom, and then Maitland yet to get a win this season, the only side to do so. So now, as we look at it, Maitland are the only side without a win, and Magic are the only side. So I shouldn't say Magic. Magic and Olympic are the only 2 sides without losses. So that top 4: Magic, the Western Bears, Hamilton Olympic, and then Edgeworth. So it's going to be interesting because there's
Lambton, Jaffers and Adamstown, who you'd expect to be up there as well as the Jets youth. So it's going to be an interesting finish over the last 12 rounds of the season. So New FM up next, and we see Valentine at the top on 23 points. So they're in the green zone. If it finishes like that, they'll be heading up to the NPL next year. But interesting to note, Wallsend on 21 points. They're only 2 points behind Valentine. Lake Macquarie down on 16 points in third. So they're not out of it just yet. They've played one less game than Valentine. So if they get a win in that one, they're only 4 points off the pace. Cahibra as well, they've only played the 7 games, so they're definitely up there with 14 points. West Wallsend as well. Were up there a few weeks ago, but now they've sort of drifted back and still on the same points as Cahibra, but they've played 2 more matches. Interesting to note that 3 of the sides in the middle of the table have scored as many goals as they've conceded. 19, 17 and 16 for West Wallsend, Singleton and Cooks Hill, which is an interesting anomaly on the ladder. And we also see that 4 sides are in positive and 4 sides are in the negative differential. So a pretty even looking ladder there. Valentine, as we said, up the top, and probably going to be a battle between them and Lake Macquarie as well as Wallsend over the final, how many rounds have we got? So 20 rounds. So the final 11 rounds of the competition in the New FM division. So thanks for watching the halftime show for the round 7 match today between South Cardiff and Edgeworth. Next week we've got a blockbuster. It's a top of the table clash actually at the moment. It's Broadmeadow Magic taking on Western at Magic Park. It's going to be an absolute epic contest. So until next week, it's goodbye from us here at Bar TV.
This is for the players. For those who battle in the blink of an eye. For the drivers that compete for their club, no matter where they are. For everyone who has triumphs, tips and tricks to share.
And for those who love to play with complete freedom, this is for the game changers, the innovators. This is for the players. This is PS4.
Australia's leading sports organisations have made a pledge to tackle youth binge drinking.
Now when you're watching your favourite sports, like football,
Swimming, basketball,
Netball,
and athletics,
you'll see this logo.
it's all about coming together to have a positive influence on our drinking culture.
We're strong enough to say enough.
and you can be too.
Back your judgment.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Be the influence.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could.
Real guys, real sport. Bar TV.
2, 1, 2.
Welcome back. Second half action here. Edgeworth and South Cardiff on a Sunday afternoon at Ulinga Oval. Great to have your company. And Blake, you've got some scores from the other grounds.
Yeah, at half-time, Adamstown and the Jaffers were 1-1. And Hamilton Olympic and Western were 1-1. And Maitland were ahead against Charlestown 2-0.
Maitland ahead against Charlestown 2-0. Any Maitland fans watching, that's great news for them. Not great news. Here's Brodie Taylor with a long-range effort. Back for Pasquale and across to the right.
The goal for Hamilton was to Jacob Bailey and the goal to Western was to Troy Herefield.
Troy Herefield again getting on the score sheet. He did a few weeks ago in that big match we had at Maitland.
Also, Hamilton were awarded a penalty, but Tim Pratt made a save, so good chance for Hamilton to go ahead, but they couldn't.
He's had a great year this year so far, Tim Pratt. Of course, as we already touched on in the first half, 4 goals against this season. Western, best defence in the competition. Trevor Morris doing well there. Here's Bazari near stick. It's headed away. Song Diok trying to hold Pasquale off him. Plays it to the right. South Cardiff temporarily away, but it runs back to Brent Hamill. Brent Hamill's playing very deep today. Is that a usual thing for Brent Hamill?
I'm not sure from memory.
He seems to be sort of playing it right back.
Yeah, from memory in the first game where they beat Charlestown 4-0, he played a little bit higher up, I think. Or maybe that was Brenton Olsman, I can't remember. But yeah, maybe just some new tactics from Damien Zane. I know they've got Aaron McLaughlin on the bench. Maybe that was a tactical decision as well. We saw him come off the bench last week and have a cracker, didn't we? So
he was awesome. And here's Song Diok down the line looking for Mitch Wallace, and it's going to go down over the sideline. Damien Zane said in the post-match interview, of course, check those out at the end of the game on the Bar TV channel. He said at the end of the game, his holes away on the right, that anyone really can play anywhere in his team because they're so mobile. So it's interesting perspective. It's almost a revolution in the game having 11 players, 10 players, as well as the goalie, 10 players on the park that can play wherever you want them to.
Yeah, well, we've seen he's not here today, but Josh Evans transition from midfield to the back line with Luke Walker's injury. Lockie Pasquale's obviously very young, and he's just come in and fit in really well in the centre of the park, which has made that move for Evans possible. So, yeah, he's very lucky, Damien Zane, and those sorts of things will get you into the finals.
Well, Edgeworth definitely have impressed me so far this year. They seem young, energetic, and exciting to watch. So, and that was shown last week against Lambton as well. So, they've definitely been the form side, apart from say Broadmeadow Magic, attacking wise over the opening few rounds. Western, of course, have just been really miserly in defence. Hamilton Olympic as well, Edgeworth. That Hamilton Olympic game against Western, Of course, Blake said 1-1, so that's an interesting one, as well as the Lambton match against Adamstown. Adamstown have got some wonderful players there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they won that one. Two sides that probably should be higher up than where they are, the Jaffers and the Rosebuds. What are your thoughts on that, Blake? Of course, Lambton mid-table. We'll just stick with the play. We'll see what Brent Hamill's got. He puts it in the middle of the box. Tannock again up with the header. Going up his pull, and he punches it clear, but only as far as Moore. Keanu Moore with a volley. They do well, South Cardiff. And it's cleared away up to Sang Diok. Mitch Wallace playing it back to Sang Diok. He's away down the left, and we'll go back to that. Yeah, Lambton, they're down in 6th spot on the ladder. Real surprise.
Yeah, if you go back to last year, and I think the year before as well, they started slowly in both seasons, and they've made 2 grand finals. So it's not something that you want, but it's not necessarily something that's a big drama at the moment for them.
Well, I said to Dave Tancheski last week, actually, that Lambton started better this season than they did last year. It's incredible. Here's an offside against South Cardiff. Yeah, I think they started last year with 3 losses in a row or something like that. And this year they've started pretty well compared to that. So, and at the back end of the year, if you get 5 or 6 matches where you get the 3 points every week, you can just fly up the ladder. Oh, there's a strong
The biggest
challenge.
disappointment for him, that would be, you can do that, but if you do it consistently all season, you come first. So that's just something that they haven't been able to do in the last few seasons. And
yeah, that's right. Of course, Jets Youth with the first place last year. Here's Keanu Moore, had a nice volley a moment ago. Holtz putting it back post. They had 2 men unmarked there. Goes over the top. A shot. Oh, just over the top from Brodie Taylor.
Yeah, top netting, wasn't it? A very good strike. 50 minutes into this match, and it had Tommy Pullen beat. It was a little bit wider, and I reckon it was going to be on target into the top right hand corner, but it's just fizzled over, and Tommy will take the goal kick.
Edgeworth now with their captain. Cross over to the left now. After it was Olzema. Durez does well, but only as far as Pasquale. Brodie Taylor back to Lockie Pasquale. Cross to the right for Dylan Holes. So Edgeworth have come out after the break and controlled it after that goal right on half-time from Justin Tannock. Pasquale's turned it over now. Song Diok. Bolka, and it runs through and down to Bren Hamill. Goes back, it's played back to Jim Fogarty in goals, and they'll come out from the back now, Edgeworth. Yeah, it just becomes more and more obvious to me, Blake, as this game goes on. When South Cardiff just haven't got the ball, I think they're too reliant on their Korean import. It'll be interesting when they do make the change. Sean Clerk and Cam Herring, Clayton Stocker, Matt Wildsmith, the men on the bench. So it'll be interesting to see how Greg Asquith uses those guys.
Yeah, of the 4 of them, Sean Clerk will be a definite to come on. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him sooner rather than later. I think the only thing affecting that substitution would be him returning from injury. So he will definitely come on, though. I'm assuming Walsmith will also. I can see him maybe coming on for Daniel Wells, bring a bit more experience and creativity in the midfield, as we see Tom Pullen collect there as Brodie Taylor was looking to get it on the end of a through ball. I can also see Cameron Herring coming on, mainly because of his first grade experience. He has a lot more than Clayton does. So, barring an unfortunate injury, I can't see Stocker coming on in this game.
I thought Clayton Stocker played all right the other night against Charlestown. He had a decent performance in that win where they had plenty out South Cardiff. Of course, coming into the side, Matt Darr and Phil Burez from the midweek match as it runs back. Fletcher Price on it. Leaves it for Tom Pullen. And he'll have a goal kick for South Cardiff. So I think maybe Greg Asquith also just sort of sticking with how it was before the break, because the home side were really controlling possession, and dominating the game. So we probably thought maybe we'll keep it the same. As here's Sung Diok playing it squared back. Bounces away. Bazari now for Tannick.
Yeah, as you say that, they were sort of dominating possession, but you could hear walking past their sheds that Greg wasn't happy with the way they were keeping it. He, sort of challenged them to keep the ball a little bit more. Just talking to a friend that I used to play with, he plays in the 22, so he said he was down there counting at one stage if any team could make 6 passes, and he said he was counting for a while, and there was a period there where they just, no side really kept the ball.
That's interesting. Well, I think there was definitely some paint coming off the walls in the South Cardiff dressing room. Greg Asquith not impressed at all.
I'll just let you know here, someone has started to warm up. It might be Liam Spurway. We've just seen Dylan Holes come over to the bench and tell them something, and he looks to be moving a little bit gingerly. And someone, I think, is Liam Spurway's just gone to warm up. So
I'm pretty certain he was a little bit of push and shove. Mitch Wallace and Pat Wheeler, a little bit of push and shove, but it is Liam Spurway down there. He was in year 12 at Merewether last year. Merewether High last year, so their team got through to, I think, the area semi-final or the final in the CHS knockout, which would have helped having him in the side. They were knocked out by Lambton High. Of course, have a few of the Lambton Jaffas first-grade players. Michael Williams, one that springs to mind, and he's pretty quick, Liam Spurway, so they'll add a little bit more speed up front. And South Cardiff with the free kick. Oh, we've got a little kid running onto the field now, just in front of us. I think it was the child of Edgeworth's backup keeper Ben Smith, just having a little run on the ground. Funny stuff going on. We've had dogs on the field. We've had little kids on the field.
We're about to see our first substitution come onto the field as well.
And it is going to be Liam Spurway. Didn't play last week. He was on the bench. So maybe the scoreline has something to do with that. Because last week it was 1-1 when Aaron McLaughlin came on and made a few other changes. So maybe Edgeworth trying to go for the kill here. I'm pretty sure he's plays up front, Liam Spurway. Unless you know anything else, Blake. I'm pretty sure he plays close to up front.
Yeah, well, Dylan Holes is a wide left player. Yeah, we see here, 57 minutes into the match, and our first substitution is taking place. Dylan Holes is being replaced by Liam Spurway. Yeah, and I think he's just going to come into the left midfield. So a straight swap.
So maybe an injury there. He was about to sort of looked as if he was going down the tunnel. So we'll see what happens there for him. Hopefully nothing too bad for the Edgeworth midfielder. Down a little decent bounce there, and now a poor ball. Bounces back for Fletcher Price. He'll take it after it. Burez didn't get his pass exactly where he wanted it. Song Diok. And headed away for Cam Hughes. At the back, Fletcher Price now turning around, charging after his Keanu Moore. Back to Tom Pullen. Now it's Tannick putting the pressure on the South Cardiff goalkeeper. It's amazing that energy you have when you're in front, Blake. Charging down everything, charging at the keeper, pressuring. Here's Bazari down the line looking for Spurway. Almost got cleaned up. The back by Burez. Hello and welcome to first grade. Welcome to Ulinga Oval. Now it's with Moore. Back for Tannick, who pulled the trigger straight down the throat of Tom Pullen. If South Cardiff can get one back, as we saw on Wednesday night, Blake, with Charlestown, anything can happen in this one. You just feel if they can get a goal, this game is just going to heat up like nothing else.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but the biggest challenge for them is getting one. They missed a lot of chances in the first half, and then, they've definitely made to pay. We see Jared Johnson here with a shot. It's gone out. been deflected out for a corner, so there's going to be a corner on this near right-hand corner spot. It's going to be Nick Russell to come over and whip it in with his right boot, and he'll be hoping that he gets in a better delivery than a few that he produced in the first half.
Down the grandstand end, the Stafford stand end of the ground with Nick Russell. He's hit 2 corners from memory this afternoon and a free kick, and both haven't been his best, but the second one almost created a goal and probably should have. Pasquale was on the line and he knocked it away. So here's Russell going near stick. Bazzari goes up and it's over behind the goal, so another corner for Nick Russell. We'll take the ball back to the corner and do it all again. Of course, that score this afternoon, as you can see in the scoreboard behind, was a 2-1 win to Edgeworth in the 22s. The 19s not played this afternoon. Nick Russell again this time looking back post. Fogarty getting a touch on it this time. Referee looking like a traffic conductor at the moment, pointing to each side. And it's going to be Jared Johnson running over to that far or left side attacking edge for the Gunners. And he's going to take it. So third corner in a row. Mounting a little bit of pressure, the home side. Here's Johnson looking back post. Fogarty again with a punch. And it's going to be another corner.
Yeah, it's 4 in a row, isn't it? There have been some good deliveries.
Jim Fogarty.
Yeah, Jim Fogarty's, sorry, Ben, he's definitely up for it. He doesn't look like a keeper who's going to be beaten today.
Well, it's going to be Nick Russell again. Down in that right corner. Crowd just in there behind him. Nick Russell and whipped in. Fogarty again, bit of pressure. It's headed away in the end from Brent Hamill, I believe it was. Now across to the right, so some more chance for Cardiff, South Cardiff, and Nick Russell deflecting off Bazzari's backside and over the byline, over the sideline, and a throw going the way of the home side. And a change is going to be made for Fletcher Price coming off, and it's going to be Sean Clerk. Is it coming onto the ground?
Cameron Herring, that is.
Cameron Herring. I can see the 1. Number 3, yep. 13 coming onto the ground, Cam Herring. Throw for South Cardiff. It's going to be Cam Herring. He's going to be his first involvement. He hasn't blown a... He's got
to wait for the linesman to get up with the play. It sounded a little bit condescending, didn't it? He couldn't really be up there in half a second.
Yeah, Cam Herring.
It was the throw-in that was taken too early, not the linesman taking too long.
As it ricochets off Bazzari and down the line. And played long. Tom Pullen after it. South Cardiff now getting their teeth into the second half. And now where's Cam Herring going to play, Blake, in the final 30?
He'll just come straight into where Fletch just came off into right back, and he can also play centre midfield. So that'll be something that Coach Greg Asquith will have in mind if they need to go to 3 at the back. He can play right back, he can play centre back, and he can play midfield. So
another one of those utility players that coaches love. It's played across to the left now, and going down the left side for South Cardiff is Nick Russell. And it's back now for Balcombe. Across to the right now, looking for Cam Herring, but it's Wells on the ball. He finds Herring down on the right side next to the touchline. Herring now back, playing it towards Wells. Wells is going to whip one in. In the end, it'll roll straight to Jim Fogarty. Just the quality there for South Cardiff, not there. But it's great to have your company on this Sunday afternoon from Ulinga Oval at South Cardiff. It's the visitors, the Edgeworth Eagles, leading by 2-0 after 62.5 minutes in this one. Across to the right now, it's with Bren Hamill on the far side. What's he got? He plays it back to Brodie Taylor, who went closer a couple of minutes ago.
Just a quick update, Ben. Sorry to cut you off there.
Shot off the post there from Liam Spurway. Back to you, Blake.
We've got action everywhere, don't we? Hamilton Olympic have gone ahead against Western 3-1.
Oh, so Western, we've got a yellow card. Is this maybe... It's Justin Tannock that's got it. The referee saying one over there. So a couple of fouls from Tannock, the Eagles striker, getting a bit fired up. So Western heading for their second defeat of the year.
Yeah, that's what it looks to be, doesn't it? And be good news for Hamilton. It's hard to go to Bear Park, as everyone knows, and pick up 3 points. But they they've missed a penalty, but it hasn't really cost them as they have gone ahead 3-1. So now they'll be looking to hold on to that lead.
Well, Hamilton haven't lost a game this season. They've had 3 draws and 3 wins.
Yeah, and obviously if they end up winning this one, they go first. Obviously, Magic have got that game tomorrow, but Hamilton will finish the weekend in first place on 15 points, 1 ahead of Broadmeadow and 2 ahead of Western.
And that's not a game that you can just write down and say, yeah, it's going to be a win for Magic, because they're playing the Jets youth, so it's not one of those games where it could be one of those games where Magic find the going a bit tough. They had a slow start against South Cardiff last weekend before coming back and winning 4-1, Cale Bradbury scoring 4. And next weekend we've got the Magic taking on the Western Bears, so that will be an interesting battle, that one. And I'm pretty sure, Blake, we're going to have the rematch from round 1, the Broadmeadow Magic Hamilton Olympic, as it's been put over and down the hill from Fuel Bureaus. We've got the Hamilton Olympic Broadmeadow Magic matchup. I'm pretty sure we're going to get that one in round number 10.
Looking forward to that one a lot.
Well, round 1 it was a 0-0 draw, so it was sort of hard to tell where to rate the sides. And the two sides that, here's the ball from Bazzari. It wouldn't happen very often that they both don't make the finals. Here's Sung Deok. How much speed has he got? He can't get past Pat Wheeler. Jim Fogarty wanted the high foot. In the end, it wasn't given.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I can't remember the last time both of them didn't make the finals. Obviously, apart from last year. And they've both worked overtime in the off-season to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Both want to be back up there, and with early form, it looks like both will be back up there.
Yeah, which means that if they continue on their merry way, both those sides, they could be heading... There's only 2 spots left, so it is going to be a really interesting season. There are some good sides in the competition this year. Here's Mitch Wallace down the right-hand side. We'll see if South Cardiff can get back into this one. Wallace looking long and inside. They do well. It only comes as far out as Dan Johnson. He has a hit. Didn't get enough behind it. And Fogarty will fling it out. But I've said it earlier, of course, the Jets youth not making the finals, which sort of makes it easier for some of those sides. But Edgeworth, Western, Jaffers, Rosebuds, I think are the other 4 sides that are going to be there and thereabouts this season. And the Jaffers, we spoke about before, they've had a slow start last year and won the comp in the year before. Maybe this year, if they have continue in their slow start, it could cost them at the back end.
Yeah, competition this season compared to last is miles ahead. Some of the recruits that this competition's got in, and then a lot of last season's recruits getting, a year under their belt. It's improving rapidly, the NPL.
Yeah, that's right. So I think Charlestown, Maitland and South Cardiff, they're sort of lower down, but I think this is going to be a test for South Cardiff, this last 25. If they can get back into it, then you can't write them off this year. But if they don't and they struggle to get back into it this afternoon, well, then you just think they're going to find it tough to make it into the top 4 this season. I think this could, because we're almost halfway through the season. We've got a couple of games before we get to there. And if you're languishing back in 8th and 9th halfway through the season, it's very, very, very tough, especially when there's only a top 4 this year, to make the finals as it's whipped in and onto the roof of the net. Because if you think about it, Edgeworth get the win tonight, and they go up to 15 points. Hamilton have already, they're leading Western. They'll be on 15. So the lowest team in the top 4 is going to be Western, and they're going to be on 13. And if South Cardiff don't get the win, that's 8 points adrift with just over half the season to go. So makes it very, very tough. Brenton Olzheimer now on the ball for Edgeworth. Going to try and bring it across the ground now. He goes to Pasquale. Looking for Spurway, who had that shot a few moments ago that thumped into the post. Bureaus now knocking it over the sideline. Almost cleaned up a kid over there, actually. And it's going to be going to be a throw for Bazzari. Bring it back for Pasquale. A few rhyming names this afternoon. Olzema. Cross to Brent Hamill. Playing in the backs today. Long range. He scored a free kick in the 18th. And Justin Tannock in stoppage time in the first half with his left boot after South Cardiff couldn't clear. Made it 2-0 for Edgeworth. Now it's for Daniel Wells. And turned over again, maybe. Or it's going to run on and over the sideline. Jared Johnson. And we are going to see another change. It's Aaron McLaughlin coming onto the ground. And it's going to be Keanu Moore who's coming from the ground for the Eagles.
Yeah, 70 minutes in. You'd call that a defensive move, wouldn't you, Aaron McLaughlin? Looks like he's going to go into left back. They might go to even 5 at the back. The Eagles. Don Bazzari might come in a little bit more central.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something. I'm really surprised they've still only made the one change, South Cardiff, so it runs back towards Fogarty. He's going to come out and gets a hold of it nicely. Yeah, Sean Clerk still not coming on, which is a bit of a surprise, but I think I agree with what you said before, Blake, in terms of him not being on the field because of that injury still coming back. What is his injury, actually?
I wouldn't have a clue, actually. I think it's ankle. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. Well, of course, ankles definitely very hard to come back from straight away because that movement is restricted. You don't feel as light on your feet as you are when they're fully healed. So we'll see how he goes this afternoon, Sean Clerk. Well, maybe Greg Asquith might just not risk him at all if the situation gets to a state where it's so dire. And just as we're talking about him, he is going to come into the ground, Sean Clerk. And we'll find out who is going to come from the ground.
It's going to be Jared Johnson. He's walking off on that far side. Yeah, and as Clerk comes in, he replaces Jared Johnson in the 71st minute of this game.
Now, Sean Clerk, what's his speed like? Does he have a lot of speed? Or
he's a bit similar to Mitch up front. Strong, but not too fast. But a good finisher of the ball.
There goes Brent Hamill, long throw. A bit of power behind that one. Edgeworth now. So we'll see if Sean Clerk can make a difference in the final 20 minutes of this one here at Ulinga Oval this afternoon. Here's Song Diok. Once again, numbers around him to stop him. Hughes, the captain. Cam Hughes. Back to Balcombe. Balcombe turning around on the ball. Playing it across again to the left. Long ball. Once again, the quality just not there for South Cardiff. So it runs down and over the byline. Another goal kick for Jim Fogarty. I think that goal right on half-time, I said it at the time, Blake, is really hurt South Cardiff. They were playing well up until then, and in the second half they really haven't seemed to have been able to get it together.
No, yeah, that goal just before half-time looks to have sort of deflated them, hasn't it?
We'll see if they can just get a little bit more energy in the back half, but they've been pretty solid at the back today, Edgeworth. They have got a decent defence, only conceded the 8 goals this season, the 4th best defence in the competition. Only 4 sides that haven't conceded double figures this year, and that is that are the top 4, the Eagles, Hamilton, Western and Broadmeadow Magic. Here's a ball back post. This could finish the game. It's been put in the back of the net and Edgeworth score. And you'd have to think that right now that would have to be the game killer. And Edgeworth lead by 3-0.
Yeah, so it was Brenton Olzema, number 2. 73 minutes into the game. And that makes it 3-0, as you said. It definitely will have killed the game off. And it looks like Edgy have come here and picked up the 3 points today.
And Blake, what was your tip at the start of the game? Because I think we're getting pretty close to it. Was it 3 or 4-0?
I sat on the fence and said 3 or 4, but I'm looking very good at the moment, aren't I?
Yep, very, very nice. Should start up your own betting firm. And it's going to be Tom Pullen who's going to have the goal kick. Yeah, they were right in the contest, South Cardiff, and Greg Asquith this afternoon, he'll be disappointed with that. Probably more so that goal on half-time being the turning point of this game. Over the top now with Dan Johnson. Song Deok away. He's into the box. Can he shoot? Good save from Fogarty. He hits it again. Oh, it's soft and it's out somehow. That hasn't gone in. Back, he squares it. It's hit by Clerk, and Clerk has scored. South Cardiff are back in the game, and we've got 15 to go. He comes on the ground, and Clerk scores. So hold the phones. Turn back on your iPads and your TVs and your computers, because this one's going to come back to life in the final 15. It's back to a 2-goal deficit, and it's another goal fest at Ulinga, Blake.
Yeah, we said, didn't we, earlier on that lots of their games end with a lot of goals, and we've already seen 4, and that really just cancels out that third goal for Edgeworth. So let's see if they can fire up the Gunners.
So hold on a sec. We'll see, as Blake said, we'll see what's going to happen in these final few moments. Here's Taylor on the ball, Brodie Taylor. Of course, this game's celebrating the life of his brother, big South Cardiff fan. Aaron McLaughlin now hasn't played as big a role this afternoon as he did in the game last weekend against Lambton. That's going to be Tom Pullen. So yet again, South Cardiff go a game where they haven't kept a clean sheet and they haven't been kept scoreless. So they have been able to score goals this year. The Gunners have scored. They scored 12 before this game, and that goes up to 13. So it's been a pretty good year in the NPL for goals. Plenty of goals in most of the games we've covered. The only game where we didn't have too many was the Maitland Weston game up at Cook Square Park.
Yeah, it's a pretty good stat, isn't it? Seven games into the season, and what have they scored? They've just scored their 13th goal. But yeah, it's just the defence, isn't it? Defence has really let them down this season.
Well, we come back to that goal right on half time. That doesn't get put in, and this is a whole different ball game, because they were just, there was a downward trend from the opening moment of the whistle, the opening moment of the first half of the second half. There was just a downward spiral that the home side South Cardiff were on, and it sort of just culminated in that goal from Olzoma, I should say. And now that goal, they've sprung to life again. Here's Sean Clerk after it again. Pat Wheeler does well. Scored the goal after Sung Deok had the hit and found Jim Fogarty with a couple of fantastic saves. Here's Borkham back to Dan Johnson. Just stood on the ball there and lost a bit of momentum. Cross to the left, and now back with Johnson, the captain. He does well to get into the 18. It's Sung Deok was there again. All of a sudden, they're just not marking him as tightly, and he's been able to have a bit of a free rein in the last few minutes.
Yeah, in the lead up to Clerk's goal, it was amazing that the ball didn't go in for him. Like I think he had 3 shots deflected there, didn't he? And then he didn't give up to his credit. He kept chasing. He won the ball back inside the box, and he put one across for a goal. So
never gave up at all, did he? And he got lucky on Wednesday night with a bit of a deflection going in. So luck changes on a daily basis, maybe even a minutely basis. But he did really well to regather the ball, regather control of it, and then finish it. Or put the pass back for Clerk to finish it. Here he is again down the left side, playing it back and just trying to calm it all down for the Gunners. Now with Dan Johnson, middle of the ground, back and across again. Burez with his hands in the air calling, and now Dan Johnson. So they've got plenty of numbers in the box for Dan Johnson if he can find them. Dan Johnson on the left. He still doesn't put it in. He plays it back again for Borkham. Scored on Wednesday night, Ash Borkham. Still turning. Borkham now over near the sideline, back for Wells. Wells, can they put one in? Not yet. Johnson again. Johnson has a hit. Well blocked in the end by Edgeworth. Turns around now, back for Borkham. Borkham putting it in, the header up, and Fogarty takes it nicely above his head.
Yeah, it was Cameron Herring in there going up for the header, and you got Clerk here on the right-hand side. You really want Sean Clerk to be the one going up for that, or even Mitch Wallace, who looks like he's taken a more central role.
Cross now to Spurway for the Eagles, and back for Brent Hamill. Goes back to Spurway now, almost through. Good defence over there from Matt Dar. Now with Clerk. Clerk back for Borkham. Borkham with the beard. Down the left side, Song Deok coming across and doing really well for Edgeworth as their captain, Cam Hughes. And it's going to be another substitution from South Cardiff this time. And coming onto the ground is going to be Matt Wildsmith. I'm just checking who is coming from the ground. It's Daniel Wells. So Wells coming off, and Matt Wildsmith in number 15 coming on for South Cardiff. What's he going to bring to the home side, Blake?
Yeah, he's a quick little player. He doesn't give up, and I think his biggest attribute is the way he gets stuck in defensively to try and win the ball back. So it's a good move by Asquith, and he's also very creative on the ball. So it's a very good substitution to have.
Here's Edgeworth on the break through Brent Hamill. Probably haven't got enough numbers. It's been played for Olzomer on the right. Still with Olzomer. He gets away from his man. He's got men in the middle. He plays it back towards Brodie Taylor. Just couldn't get the shot right and goes over the byline. Tom Pullen is going to have the goal kick. So just over 80 minutes gone in the game. It's South Cardiff 1, Edgeworth 3. Round 7 on Bar TV. Next Sunday, it's the battle between Western and Magic at Magic Park. So we look forward to bringing that one to you next Sunday at 2:30 in the afternoon. Great to have plenty of viewers this afternoon on this one. Definitely one of our biggest games in the last few weeks. Clerk now on the ball, and very big thanks to South Cardiff and Edgeworth for putting this game up on their Facebook pages and getting it out. So anyone that's watching, if you want to repost or retweet any of Bar TV's games, including other NPL matches, that is great. As the more people know, that would be fantastic and improve the fan base for this, because it's great to be coming out to all these NPL matches and covering them. I'm sure Blake would say the same. It's just awesome that we're able to bring one game a week live, but we'd love to do more. So your support is greatly appreciated in 2015. Matt Dar on the left for the home side now. A little bit of a lull in play. Now is Song Deok. Gets away. Now has a hit. He's one of those players that can just change a match in an instant. Unfortunately, it rolls past Jim Fogarty's goals.
We're going to see our next and I think final change of the game here, with Aidan Bryce coming onto the field.
Brodie Taylor, I think he said Brodie. And everyone giving a big clap off the ground, Brodie Taylor, which is great to see from even all the South Cardiff fans. Fantastic. This is awesome. And we're going to resume the game from Jim Fogarty's boot with the goal kick. Of course, those who are wondering what the applause was for, Brodie Taylor's brother, of course, passing away last week recently, Sam Taylor, which was, we had a minute's applause at the beginning of the game and applause then for Brodie Taylor as he left the ground. So fantastic to see from the crowd here at Ulinga Oval. South Cardiff fans and Edgeworth fans together. Ash Borkham, are you seeing a South Cardiff comeback in the final 7 minutes, Blake, or do you think Edgeworth will just be too strong?
I think Edgeworth are going to be too strong, and even though South Cardiff are pushing, Edgeworth are going to that 5 at the back formation, maybe 4 at the back and just 1 in front. So I don't really see either side getting another one. So I think it'll stay at 3-1.
Now down towards Tannock, who scored in stoppage time in the first half. Herring now down the line looking for Wildsmith. He puts it back Smith. Seng Diok after it. Can he put one back in for Clerk again? He has a hit, Seng Diok. It rattles the side netting. Just couldn't get it back in for Sean Clerk, who came onto the ground as the second half substitute and got on the board almost immediately for the home side.
Yeah, scoring his 3rd goal of the season, so he goes to leading scorer for the Gunners, with Dean Kelly and Mitch Wallace both behind him on 2.
Any word on when Dean Kelly's going to be back for the Gunners?
No, I saw him at half time. I should have asked him. I didn't even think to, but no, I'm not too sure.
And Seng Diok as well with the 2 goals as well for the Gunners up there. Aaron McLaughlin taking on down the left. A little bit of a hand on Wildsmith. He went down very easily. Ash Balcombe across to the left for South Cardiff. Went to Nick Russell. Balcombe. Back to Clerk now. Sean Clerk spinning, turning and going back across to Nick Russell. Russell looking towards the middle of the box. And Bryn Hamill does well on the edge of the 18. So into the final 5 of regulation time. A decent challenge from Russell, but it runs over the byline. And a goal kick to Jim Fogarty. 3-1 Edgeworth over the Gunners. 2-1 in the match before. It was 1-1 up until late, but Edgeworth got a late winner. Almost ticking over to the 81st. So we've had an interesting afternoon. The minutes applause for Brodie Taylor. We had a goal from Bren Hamill. Scroll that back if you want to. That was an awesome strike. If you saw Craig Goodwin's free kick in the A-League finals, it was pretty close to that with his right foot into the top left corner. As it's been turned over, Edgeworth away, and then we had another goal right on half-time after South Cardiff dominated the opening exchanges through Justin Tannock. And then the goal we thought would finish the game from Brendan Olzheimer and put them ahead 3-0, but then Sean Clerk scored pretty soon after to get them back in the game. But Edgeworth have really grinded this one out this afternoon to lead 3-1 with less than 4 minutes to go on the clock. Back now for Mitch Wallace, who's been pretty good this afternoon. Now for Herring, just come onto the ground in the second half, and back for Burez, of course, coming from Sydney. And this is his first game back for South Cardiff. Here's a shot from outside for Fogarty, still not back in his goals. Ricochets away, Ash Balcombe now across to the left. South Cardiff just applying the blowtorch in the final few moments. Now with Nick Russell, long-range effort. Fogarty sits up for Clerk. Clerk spinning, holding up the ball nicely. Spins and turns and has a shot. And it goes wide. Just sums up South Cardiff's afternoon, that little raid there. They've been close, they've been there, just haven't been able to finish it, Blake.
Yeah, I think they did miss a few great chances before halftime, didn't they? You know, they take those chances, they go into the break with a bit more confidence coming out in the second half, but minutes of normal time remaining that Edgeworth are going to come here and take the 3 points from South Cardiff.
So I'm trying to read the comments online here on the YouTube, because we've got some comments. I think they're saying Lachlan Pasquale scored the goal, not Brenton Olzheimer, because we missed it. It was at the back stick. So we're going we're going with, they think it was Pasquale. So we'll go with the X-Poll there online. Great to have you with us this afternoon. That's what I need to do more, look at those comments on online. It's great to have your input this afternoon. And as we said before, share it on your Facebook, retweet, get it out there, because we need more and more support for the NPL on Bar TV, so we can try and get every game at least up online. There's now with Matt Darr across to the middle of the ground with Clerk. It's been really good since he's come onto the ground. Wildsmith away down the right on the inside. A reminder that next weekend we've got the Western's match up against Broadmeadow Magic, and online they've been talking about the X-Pol and Jonty Carlin, about Lachlan Pasquale, little young gun out there this afternoon. We've seen him 2 weeks in a row, Blake, and he's been close to one of the best players on the park for last week against Lambton and this week against the Gunners. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, he's rated very highly by Damien Zane. He's offered a lot in the centre of the park. He made his debut only a couple of weeks ago, and I think his first ever first grade game was in the 5-0 win over South Cardiff in the FFA Cup.
That was his first ever. Yeah, he's been really good the last few weeks that we've seen him. Of course, playing in Luke Walker's number. I asked Damien whether he was coming back soon. He's standing just in front of us over near the Edgeworth bench. Expect him to be back soon for the Eagles. So we tick over now into the stoppage time in the first half, round 7 match of the round. It's the Gunners 1, Edgeworth 3 here at Ulinga Oval. Over with Nick Russell playing it down the line for Balcombe. Probably not one of his best games. He played really well on Wednesday night, scored the goal, but not as good a performance from Ash Balcombe this afternoon.
So where is he?
And he's going to have the corner. So on that far side, of course, Jared Johnson was taking them before, and it's going to be Ash Balcombe.
We just got a bit of confusion. I'd written down Brenton Olzemer, and
he's Fogarty with a great save. See what happens here. Dan Johnson up. Jim Fogarty's been
he's
awesome
been great,
this afternoon. And here's Bren Hamill looking for Olzemer. Olzemer holding up. Yeah, back to you, Blake.
That third goal, I thought I had Brenton Olzemer, and someone's written online that it was Lockie Pasquale, but I've just got confirmation from both Twitter and a couple of Edgeworth Eagles supporters. It was Liam Spurway that actually put the goal away.
So Liam Spurway. It was the mystery goal scorer. So it was Liam Spurway. Liam Spurway with Edgeworth's third goal, the match killer, I'm going to call it, to get them ahead by 3-0. It's good to see one of the substitutions coming on and grabbing a goal. Just finished Year 12 last year, and now he gets shoved off the ball by Sean Clerk. Runs back now to Pat Wheeler, calling it. Spurway gets his head on it, but it runs down and over the byline.
Just quickly around the ground, full time at Bear Park, Hamilton Olympic have defeated Western 3-1.
So 3-1 to Hamilton there, Blake, as you said. As it runs down, clock just running down slowly but surely at Ulinga Oval. And another goal fest this afternoon here at the home of the Gunners. Unfortunately not in their favour. The Eagles this afternoon, Sung Diok. Continually very impressive for the Gunners. He's gone down, Sung Diok. I think he's got a bit of cramp. Still lying on the ground. Back with the play. A throw goes the way. And I think, we're going to check. Yeah, Sung Diok has got a bit of cramp for the Gunners. There we go. Camera moving over there now. So, yeah, nice of Bren Hamill to stretch it out for him. And referee's going to call the trainer oval. So we might see our first game, Blake, that goes past the 5 minutes of stoppage time if this little interruption isn't done with quickly. This would have to be the longest stoppage time we've had this season. But we've had dogs, we've had kids running on the field, we've had all sorts of stuff this afternoon here at Ulinga Oval. The one thing that is certain is that Edgeworth will get the 3 points. They lead three goals to 1. And over there, they've turned it over now. Justin Tannock over the sideline. Maybe not the cramp now for Song Deok. He's over on the sideline. So South Cardiff down to 10 momentarily, or you'd probably think for the rest of the game. So it runs back and over the byline this afternoon. Still the referee yet to blow full time. You'd expect probably after this goal kick will be the final play of the game. Referee's got one finger in the air. Maybe he's either saying one moment before the whistle or 1 minute.
He's got the whistle in his mouth, hasn't he? So,
yep, I think down for Hamill. He's going to continue to wait, the referee. I'm trying to think where all this has come from, because in the first half, that was when the dog came on the field. So I don't know where all this stoppage has come from. And now is Sean Clerk on the ball. Back for Burez. And across for Cam Herring. Came onto the field in the second stanza. Burez again. Cross and back to Matt Dar, just playing with a 3 at the back now at South Cardiff. Nick Russell pushing up forward. Down the line for Dan Johnson to that man, Nick Russell. Sung Deok walking towards the bench, so he's not going to play. Well, it's not going to matter, because that's all she wrote here at Ulinga Oval. Full time, it's the Edgeworth Eagles who have got the job done by 3 goals to 1 this afternoon. Blake's going to go through all the stats and analysis before we leave you this afternoon. A reminder, next Sunday, it's Broadmeadow Magic versus the Western Bears, a blockbuster, 2:30. Join myself and Blake there live. And it's over to you, Blake, on your wrap-up of the game this afternoon.
Yeah, so the 3rd placed and 4th placed Hamilton Olympic and Edgeworth Eagles both on 12. Hamilton moving to 1st. They both recorded 3-1 wins today, so Hamilton moving to 1st, Edgeworth moving to 2nd. The game started off today with Brendan Hamill scoring a free kick from 25 out in the 18th minute. And just before half-time, Justin Tannock claimed the side's second, putting one into the bottom left-hand corner to make it 2-0. It was a pretty slow start to the second half, but in the 73rd minute, the 3rd goal of the game came through Liam Spurway, who was a substitute for the Eagles, and the last goal of the game was a consolation to South Cardiff, and it was Sean Clerk who smashed a left-footed volley into the bottom right-hand corner. So it was a pretty good game. Obviously, the best side won. The side that everyone thought was going to win did. It was a good atmosphere today, a very big crowd, and both clubs should be very proud, I think.
So just a reminder again, it's Broadmeadow Magic taking on the Western Bears next week. It's been great to have your company, as always, from Ulinga Oval. This afternoon, Edgeworth win their 4th in a row, and South Cardiff, after that win, unfortunately couldn't get the result this afternoon. So until next week, for the Magic and Western, it's been great to have your company from Ulinga Oval this afternoon. We'll see you next week.
This is for the players. For those that leap into battle in the blink of an eye. For the drivers that compete for their club, no matter where they are. For everyone who has triumphs, tips and tricks to share.
And for those who love to play with complete freedom, this is for the game changers, the innovators. This is for the players. This is PS4.
Australia's leading sports organisations have made a pledge to tackle youth binge drinking.
Now when you're watching your favourite sports, like football,
swimming, basketball,
netball
and athletics,
you'll see this logo.
it's all about coming together to have a positive influence on our drinking culture.
We're strong enough to say enough.
and you can be too.
Back your judgment.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Be the influence.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could.
Adam's trying to roll over it, updating the scores. Yeah, they always